Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Dr.
Wow, thank you very much. I was actually looking for you, Madam Eunice. Thank you.
I'm in.
Yeah, I think we can just start because it's already 5:30.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, my sister, Dr. Christine Owinyi. We are actually 30 participants on board, and I would wish we begin immediately. I thank God we are yet assembled in our last day of 1 week presentation. We may not take it for granted as an institute week, not only for us at Kemi, but also for our participants who could have been having a hectic time in school. To start our session tonight, may I request Madam Alice Bosibori to unmute and start us up with the word of prayer. I have noted, Madam Alice, you are ever punctual. Kindly unmute yourself. Utuanzishe kwa maombi. Thank you.
Let us pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We thank you, Almighty God, for all you have been doing to us. As we are going to start our lesson today, be with us. Let your Holy Spirit guide us so that whatever we are going to learn may be for our benefit and the benefit of those children we are serving. We continue to entrust our facilitators to your able hands. Bless them and guide them in whatever they are prepared for us. And also help them in their families. Bless their family and what they need from you, provide for them, Lord. I dedicate this lesson to you. Guide us as we start and as we finish. Be with us always in whatever we need. I pray this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sister Alice. Participants, over-excited for having read this cohort from Monday to now. I thank God for every one of us, and more so to those who have been punctually logging in on time. Dr. Christine, I was about to call you, but it's good I announce here that we have been having closely 290 participants, but tonight we are expecting a double entry because, Dr. you are aware that our colleagues are traveling back and a few are whispering whether their participants can get on board, and I have given them the permission. We are therefore expecting a huge number tonight. Hopefully, we will be able to take the big numbers if it's not possible, and more so during our breakaway rooms, we will manage. I want to welcome all of us, and because I have said there is a team that is joining us as they settle down, maybe I can request Aquila to remind our participants on how to log in to Kemi Virtual Campus briefly. Remember, participants, once we finish our evening session, we will again meet in December vacation. And from now up to December, we will be inviting you to log in to our e-learning element, so that you can engage with the uploads as well as doing the assignments. I'm reading from my WhatsApp forum. Quite a number of participants are not able to log in to our Kemi virtual campus. And I will therefore request our ICT young man, Aquira, to take us through briefly on how to log in to Kemi virtual campus. If already you are able to log in, kindly just bear with us. We keep on saying, binadamu ni mwepesi wa kusahau. There are those who are extremely unable to log in, and it is therefore very crucial as we end up our session, they be reminded on how to log in. Aquira, are you in?
Yes, I'm in.
Yeah, karibu. Good evening.
Okay, today I'll take everyone through the LMS on how to log in, especially for the cohort 2 and also partly for the cohort 1 because they're also live on YouTube. So I'll share my screen. So our site is elearning.kemi.ac.ke. This is our site. You can search for it directly. ac.ke. So for the cohort 2 participants, the TPD2, your username is in small TPD2 stroke 2022 stroke your county. For example, I use the Kiambu one stroke your TSC number. You have to write the 6 numerical numbers according to your TSC number. The password is in capital, the same thing as username, TPD2 stroke 2022 stroke 22 stroke 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is a demo account. This one is not a real account. For the Catholic group, you log in with TPDC in username, stroke 2022, stroke 22, your county, stroke your TSC number, or ID number, or passport number. For those who don't have the TSC number, you can use your ID number as you have registered. Others have used the passport number. The same case for the password for the Catholic group, it's TPDC, stroke 2022, stroke 22, which is the county. If you're in Nairobi, is 47. If you're in Mombasa, is 01. From county 1 to county 9, it's 0 as a prefix. From 10 to 47, you don't put any 0. So we'll log in. This is the dashboard. So so that thing is teacher professionalism.
Excuse me, Aquira.
Yes, yes.
There is someone who is asking you kindly repeat the username and password. And I think that is where they don't get it right.
Okay, for TPD2 is for cohort 2 is TPD2 stroke 2022 stroke your county stroke your TSC number in small letters. That's the username. For password is TPD2 stroke 2022 stroke 22, your county stroke your TSA number in capital. The word TPD is in capital. So for those, I'm reading the chart from Naomi. There are those who have registered with us, the Catholic group, the Catholic schools. We have assigned them their own registration number. It's TPDC. Most of them, they are using that as the registration number. Okay. After you log in, you click on it. You see the first thing. If you want to, the second one is the introductory overview. The third one is the teacher professionalism, which is chapter 1. Chapter 2 is competency based. Chapter 3 is assessment. So I'll go to maybe chapter 2, competency based curriculum. These are the notes here. They also have these are the notes. All of them. They're also interactive. You can see. If you want to read the notes, they have questions inside them. The first question in this presentation, it's this one. When you see this circle, there's a question in the presentation. This one is a dialogue card. To read it, you can turn, it will explain further. You go next. You turn. And then there's the documentation tool where there are also questions.
Hello, Mr. Aquila.
Yes.
I think you're too fast. Please just be slow so that they follow. Like turning, just take them step by step, please. And this, you said this is for cohort 2.
Yeah, this one is for cohort 2.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So I'll go back. And let me use the comprehensive school health and safety. Which part of it is open? These are the notes. The concept of comprehensive school. This one is the first one. Click on it. So this one is the first presentation. To make it more viewable, you can click on this full screen. There are these lines. They are crisscrossed. So you click next. You can read through. That's the first presentation. You can see, can answer on it until you go to the end where you'll see a question. There's a question in each presentation. There's one question, so you'll see a circle here so that you can answer, and then it will give you the summary over here. The second thing, most of you I'm seeing they have done this. This one is another presentation. You can read through. To click, you'll see everything in details. You can see when I click, I can get the definition. You can go through. This one is a dialogue card. You turn. You see. You can see what explaining. You go next about sanitation.
Maybe I ask on behalf of the participants. When you are turning, what are you going in for?
The details according to what is in the title. Yeah.
Okay.
You can see there's water. They'll explain more about the water according to the two elements.
Yeah, someone is asking if they must do all activities. What is your answer?
In this presentation, you must, because the system itself is marking. This one is a documentation tool. Also, you can view the videos. Sorry about this. You see the videos are embedded.
Their personal lives.
The videos are
It's
embedded.
often caused by changes in the world.
You can see also in the documentation tool, you can answer. So this one is where most of you are not following.
Excuse me, Aquira.
Yes.
Allow me to make this an announcement, please, for those who are joining us now. I'm seeing a number of them are saying are lost. Kindly, those who have logged in after we had started, we are reminding ourselves on how to navigate through our e-learning element, that is the Kemi virtual campus. And our ICT expert, that is Aquira, has taken us through on how to log in. And once you click on the Kemi site, your username should be in small letters, that it's TPD2 stroke 2022 stroke your county code stroke your TSC number. For the password, you use the same credentials, but this time in capital letters. That is capital T, capital P, capital D, that it's TPD2 stroke 2022 stroke your county code stroke your TSC number. We are just reminding ourselves before we begin our lesson for the day. Thank you.
Okay, I was in this part of the documentation tool. It's like an SE. You answer, why do schools exist? So after you finish the answers, you click to create a document. There's another question you must write. Create a document, and then you click submit. I'm happy almost 80% of you, when I see in the system, they have done it. I'm seeing your answers. So when you click, also this one is a documentation tool. You click to create a document and submit. The same thing for the case study. So the same. I'll go back to the reflections. This one you have not opened. I'll go to the assessment. So on the reflection, there are two ways of submitting the assignment. You must first click the Add Submission button. There are two ways. There's the online text. According to what you have been asked, you write what I learned, what I still wonder about, what I need. So you can write here what I learned. You continue. Still wonder about. It's not a must to use the template. This template, it's not a must. The second thing, you can upload the template after you filled it, but you must use the WPS or Microsoft Word. So for me, after I've done that, I'll open the document. I've downloaded the template. Maybe I can answer on it. I go and save it. I save it. I go back to the system. I click here. You will see upload a file. You click on choose file. You go to your file, scroll down, you choose the document, you open. And then you click upload this file. And then you click save changes. You can see the status has said submitted for grading. Okay, Penina, about to attach the photo or a video, we don't allow that for the moment. We allow only the documents, because most reflections, they must be written. Dr. Christine, can I use my phone? I can also explain using my phone.
You can also explain using your phone. So you are done with that? You're done with that?
Yes,
okay.
I'm done with this.
And for TPD1, you said you will tell them how to join the campus?
Let me show them. I'll log out. For TPD1, you use TPD1 stroke.
TPD1 are those people who started the program in December and finished in July.
Yes.
Yes.
Stroke 2021 stroke your county stroke your TSA number. This one is a demo account. Same case for the password, but in capital. Will open. So the cohort 1, it's a bit different. The notes are in PDF form. When you click on professionalism, the case, these are the notes. The case study you write on it. Let me give an example. You click add submission, and then you write, and then you save. I go back. So for the reflection, on professionalism, you can see you have given a guide to the area, or not to your site. But I've learned, what I'm still wondering about what I need to plan. Click add submission. The same way you can write on it on the online text or upload the file. You can upload any file. You click upload a file, choose a file, and then upload this file, and then save changes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Aquila. I think for TPD1, cohort 1, we have tried our best to keep on repeating, and we even have a video on that in our WhatsApp groups. Please take time to follow the steps on WhatsApp group so that you navigate through the virtual campus and finish your assignments. You are supposed to have finished the assignment by the end of this month. We will assess how many have not submitted, then we will advise accordingly what we need to do. So in case you have any challenge about logging in, I think you can take Aquila's number. Aquila, you can give them your number.
Yes. 0705 3900 88 in my chat. In the chat, I've written it.
Thank you, Mr. Aquira. I'm seeing the session has generated a number of questions. Participants, kindly remember we have a session to cover. We were reminding ourselves as we are waiting for the majority to log in. There are those who are asking, who are those in cohort 1 and cohort 2? And Dr. Eri has explained. Cohort 1 are our beginners who registered in the year 2021, and we took them through the TPD sessions for the whole year, and they're finishing their program in December. Cohort 2 now, the TPD 2, are the ones now who are, and I want to believe you are the majority who are in this session. The questions are quite a number. We may not be able to respond to them tonight, but remember, all of us, we belong to a county. Every county has a coordinator, and every county has a WhatsApp group. So through the WhatsApp group, kindly, you may choose to ask whichever question that you'd want to ask. And because Aquila has given his telephone number, kindly able to tackle what is ahead. For you who is joining us from cohort 1 or 2, I want to believe we are all at par. We are doing our last session tonight, the topic on comprehensive school health and safety. You remember on Monday, we reminded ourselves about health and health education literacy. Day 3 and yesterday, we were able to cover management of injuries, a session which I believe most of us, because we are not only thinking about injuries that are occurring in schools, but also in our homes. We may not have much time to do a recap of yesterday because I'm looking at my watch already, it's getting to 6, and we have spent like 30 minutes. And so participants, allow me to announce that we'll be facilitating this session with my sister, Dr. Christine, and our session is on fire safety and safe emergency evacuation. Remember, once cheated, twice shy. There is the period when most of our schools went burning, and therefore we might say, although we are a bit late, the topic is very timely. Allow me to invite Dr. Christine to begin our tonight's session. Karibu, Daktari.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm so excited to see a chat from my student. One of my students that I taught in high school, Sandra. Hi. Thank you very much. The other day, my teacher was here. I believe she's also there. Thank you very much. So my generations are there, the one below and the one above. Thank you very much. Now, as my sister Eunice has just said, in the previous session that you were taken through yesterday by Mr. Ngatia and Madam Rebecca, which was very resourceful. We looked at how to manage injured casualties. We learned that most of the injuries or the injured casualties in schools are as a result of accidents and burns resulting from fires. In this session, we shall learn more about the concept of fire safety and safe emergency evacuation. How can you safely help somebody or help student or help anybody who is in the fire or who is almost getting there? The importance of school safety cannot be overemphasized, as my sister Eunice has said. the safety of learners and other members of the school community is therefore paramount. Learning institutions ought to ensure necessary precautions are taken and emergencies handled properly. Yeah, fire is one of the hazards that can take place in learning institutions at any time, and it can cause a lot of injuries and damage. We are going to see some of the pictures, some of the videos of some of the scenarios that we've had in the past, and probably try to connect and see how best can we help our learning institutions. So by the end of this session, these are our learning outcomes. We want you to develop knowledge and skills in fire safety and safe emergency evacuation in learning institutions. We know that you already know. Now we want you to enhance your knowledge and skills in the concept of fire and fire chemistry. We also want you to appreciate the importance of fire safety in learning institutions. On top of that, I'd love you to demonstrate understanding of the interrelation between comprehensive school health, health education, health literacy, and social determinants of health in what you are going to do today, fire safety. So whatever we've covered since Monday, we want you to picture and see everything coming together towards the end as we finish this session, because today's session is the last session for the second session of our TPD module. Now, as usual, we will start with KW. What you know and what you want to know. In preparation for understanding the study of fire safety, complete the following. What do you know? What you know, on that is the skills, knowledge, and attitudes that you already know or have about fire safety and safe emergency evacuation. We also want you to discuss on what you want to know, that is the skills, the knowledge and attitudes that you would like to learn or to know about fire safety and safe emergency evacuation. So we are going to take you to breakout rooms. I can see we are 340 in the room. That means our rooms will have more than what we've been having. I will request Aquila to take us to, let's see, if we say 20, no, let's go to 15. Let's go to 15 breakout rooms for 10 minutes. As soon as you get into a breakout room, please don't waste any second. If you know you are good at being a leader, just take up the leadership role. Already we've had leaders since the beginning of the week. Take up the leadership role and start discussing. So we will be picking any group at random to give us their insights at the plenary when we come back. In the meantime, my sister Eunice and I will be walking around the rooms. We will be silent listeners to find out whether you are working or not. So, Mr. Aquila, please take us to the breakout rooms. And if you find yourself at the plenary, don't waste time, just start discussing. Just start discussing. We have 15 rooms for 10 minutes. We have 15 rooms for 10 minutes. We are using the first minute to go to the rooms, so we are going to add you 1 more minute. So the moment we get to 9 minutes, I will request those who will have remained at the plenary to start a conversation. Please start a conversation. If by 1 minute you will not be in your breakout room, just start a conversation at the plenary. Be the leader and we start talking. We have 74 people in the plenary. That is too high. We can wait. Let us wait to see how many will remain at the end. Aquila, please try to assign people manually because it's taking too long.
Yeah, there's some who are joining now.
Yeah, okay. Those who are joining now, just take them to any room because 79 is too high for a group.
Anyone who wants to take the leadership can take the leadership. Yes, Wycliffe.
Hello.
Yes. You can start discussing.
Hello, member.
Yes. I would wish to say what I know about fire.
Yes, go ahead. Who is our secretary first before you begin? Can we get our secretary in this group? Celestine.
Yes.
Could you kindly be our secretary?
And I am the one who is talking. Oh.
Yes, thank you very much. The Spirit has appointed you. So you talk and also you be our secretary. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
When an incident of fire occurs,
yes,
first thing that you need to do if you are on the ground
yes,
is to ring a bell at the fire assembly point.
Mm-hmm.
Then you carry out the evacuation. And while at the fire assembly, you do head count. You count to know who is missing. As you are counting, you offer first aid.
Yes.
To those who might have been injured, or to those who might have been scared and now are suffering from trauma or just hysteria. Are we still there?
Yes.
After having done that, then you can consider now giving psychological encouragement.
Yeah.
Because there are those who will not be able to come to terms with what they just saw. And there is that question of why us or why me? So you'll need to do a post-fire counseling.
Okay.
And this needs to be, there are those that will need individualized ones, and there is that which is for group.
Okay.
Let me rest at that point.
Thank you, Madam.
All of you 5 minutes.
Yes. How many minutes?
5 minutes more. I'll add you, all of you, 5 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Another member, you are free to give out your points.
Hello.
Just feel free to contribute.
Hello, how are you?
Contribute. Fine, thank you.
How are you?
Fine.
My name is Haruma Alex.
Yes.
If there's any fire outbreak or incident,
Yeah.
I think the first thing you need to do is call the fire what? Those fire people.
Extinguisher.
Yeah. Hao watu wa moto, zimamoto ndio tunawaita hivyo. Then you can also inform, you call 99 police. Then if you have those fire extinguisher, whatever strategically situated around the buildings, you can use them. You can try. In the meantime, as you wait for the fire people to come and assist you with the fire. Then you can also raise alarm, so that the community can assist in putting off fire, the rescuing maybe victims, and even some property where possible.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody else, your contribution, please.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, I'm Jacob.
Yes.
Yeah, in a situation where you have fire, the first important thing is to secure the students, ensure that they are safe. After assembling them to a common point, an assembly of fire assembly point, it's good also to note the time in the phone, because you might require a report, so that you not at which the time that the fire has occurred. Then we move fast and pertaining the nature of injuries from the students. And when you are through with that, then move in and you can avert the fire.
Okay.
As you call the fire brigade. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm through.
Hello.
Yes.
I think if there's a fire outbreak, you should call for help as you rush to see if you can secure the students. But as you secure them, the help is on the way. Yeah, that's what I think.
Thank you very much. Somebody else?
Hello. Another thing also, is to mobilize the fire extinguishers, the fire fighting equipment.
Okay.
So that you try to put off the fire before it extends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My suggestion also is, we go to the next question.
Okay, the next question was what we like to know. If we can also mention what we like to know. Any new knowledge? Josephine Mweni. Hand is up. Oh no. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Any contribution? What we like to know?
Yes. How to secure a panicked student.
Okay. Somebody else?
Hello.
Yes, Anina, go ahead.
I would also want to know how to put off different types of fire when they occur in school.
Thank you. Justin Mweni, your hand is up. I don't know whether you want to contribute.
Hello.
Okay. And Kageha.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, I would like also want to know what should happen if the fire breaks at night and everyone is sleeping.
Okay. Thank you. Another member? Yes.
Hello. I would like to know the different types of fire extinguishers. They are normally in colors.
Okay.
So can you elaborate? Normally red one, I don't know, blue one and the black one.
Okay.
The types of fire extinguishers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would also like to know how to put off the the fire extinguisher or how to use it in when the incident has occurred.
Okay.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
I would also want to know how to handle students who have been burnt and they have a second level degree burns.
Okay, thank you. Zipporah. Karanja.
I would like to know, in case of the student or the learner have been choked with the smoke, how the immediate action to take.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Come on.
Zipporah.
Hello?
Yes.
I would like to know
Mhm.
how long it takes for a fire extinguisher to expire.
Okay. Thank you. Another member, Milka. Any contribution? Another contribution?
Hello.
Yes.
How to use a fire extinguisher?
How to use the fire extinguisher?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
I was not. Am I the one reading the points, or there is somebody else? I came late.
You came late.
Yes.
I believe in our group we have the secretary. I don't know whether you are the one we appointed or there is someone, I think.
Oh, I was ready. Okay, it's fine.
Oh, if you are ready, it's okay. So okay, you can two of you. There's no problem. But let us secretary before.
Okay, she can start. Then I can finish the point which I has not.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
I believe now the other members are coming back, so we end.
Yeah, other members are coming back.
Yes. Thank you.
That was really healthy. That was a good discussion. Among all the discussions you've discussed in your groups, today you were all excellent.
Where's it?
Somebody has started asking us. Please don't ask for registration link right now. We've not started learning. You want to register and leave. Remember, we are not just learning for the sake of it. We want to learn so that we can go and make a difference in our learning institutions. So please just be patient until the right time reaches for you to get the registration link. Oh, Madam Miss.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Teddy, I mean.
Yeah, maybe you can lead us through the plenary so that you choose a few groups to tell us what they came up with.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Teddy. I have been able to visit quite a number of rooms, and I must say the discussions were healthy. Maybe we can begin with group 11. Caroline, Kenny, I noted your name as the secretary. Kindly unmute yourself and do your group presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, in group 11, we came up with these points on what we know about fire safety and safe emergency evacuation. 1, we said we should have a fire assembly point. 2, we said we should have emergency doors for learners to use. in case of a fire breakout, and we also said that they should be left open, especially at night. The learners, we also said they should be taught how to exit a school vehicle in case there's an emergency, how to use the emergency exit and the bus. We also said that we should have fire extinguishers in every block, classes, dormitory, and the rest. We said that learners and teachers should be drilled on how to behave during a fire and how to use the fire extinguishers. We said that to use a fire extinguisher, you should know that you first remove the pin, then spray the foam at the base of the flame. What we wanted to know, one, we said that we wanted to know how teachers in school will know how to use, teachers and learners, how they will know how to use the fire extinguishers. There are a way they will be taught, or the government can come and introduce such lessons for them to know. Two, we said that we wanted to know whether the ministry has put in place a policy that covers for teachers in case of an emergency, as they have done for the learners. We also wanted to know if school property is insured in case of a fire breakout. And we also wanted to know the right procedure on how to evacuate in case of a fire breakout. We also wanted to know how to handle materials that burn easily in order not to cause fire in a school. Thank you. That's what we had in group 11.
Thank you, Caroline. I hope participants were listening keenly. I left that debate very live and more so on what they want to know, the policies in place. And we are inviting other groups so that we can hear and gather more information. And once your group's points have been mentioned, kindly you can skip it so that we can have as many groups reporting as possible. I was also in another group of, was it Wanjara Barasa Evans, Nyagaten group. I didn't capture well who was the secretary, maybe Barasa Evans. You can unmute yourself and tell us what your members confirmed to know about fire safety and safe emergency evacuation. I also beg that other secretaries also to raise up your hands so that I can give you an opportunity to unmute yourself and do your presentation. Aquila, kindly check on the 9 participants. We may not have all of them presenting, but at least we can sample a few. If you have been given permission to unmute, kindly just speak and introduce by saying the group that you are presenting. And participants will keep on appreciating the presentation by either using our reactions icon or also doing appreciation via the chat box.
Okay, thank you, Madam Eunice. This is Philemon from Group 1. These were our deliberations on what we know and what we want to know about fire safety and safety emergency evacuations in learning institutions. One, it's more like a repetition, but actually an emphasis on fire drills, trainings. The fire drills, we know that they need to be done before fires take place. And these trainings should be sort of like simulated exercises where each person in the institution is given a role to play in managing a fire, to act out more or less like how you would behave when a fire takes place. Where will you go? Who will go for water? Who will do what and what? That is one thing that we said. We know the fire drills need to be brought in. And this is something that is actually missing in most of our institutions in the country. And that is why when there are fire outbreaks, you find that the fires do so much damage. People don't know exactly how to behave during those fires. I want to go to fire assemblies because that has been mentioned. Emergency doors have been mentioned. The school needs to create a friendly environment with the neighborhood community. This was our fourth point on what we want, what we know. The school needs to create an environment, friendly environment with the surrounding or neighboring community, so that when a fire breaks out, the community will willingly come in to assist in putting out the fire and doing those emergency evacuations. We saw that this is something also that is very important. Then a member contributed on how to prevent fires. And the point she gave was that we should train or inform our learners on the causes of fire so that they can be able to avoid risking fire outbreaks. We should inform them and maybe caution them about dealing with such things or mishandling such things. Then we move on to what we want to know about fire safety and safety emergency evacuations in learning institutions. One, how to put out different kinds of fire. We know that the fires are not the same, then the magnitudes also may not be the same. So which are the ways in which we can deal with different kinds of fire? Number two, right steps to follow when there is a fire outbreak. I guess this is what everybody would like to know about this, because during the fire outbreak, we find that we get into a lot of confusion, animation, and all that. So we need to know those steps. Number three, how to prevent fire in schools instead of waiting for fire outbreaks. In view of this, another member gave a similar want to know point. They said they wanted to know how to develop a risk assessment plan to guard against fire outbreaks. Number four, how to prepare teachers and staff for emergencies. Number five, how the ministry helps schools which have undergone or have gone through fire emergencies or have had fire outbreaks. How does the Ministry of Education or the government come in to help? Number five, what can be done as first aid for students in case of a fire? I think this takes us back to the information we obtained in the previous lessons or sessions. Number seven, I think, how to best evacuate the learners from the emergency that has taken place. And then last but not least, the best effective method of fighting the fire that has broken out in the school. And kindly let me just chip in a question or a clarification that I wanted to know about the reflections and about the assignments in the virtual center. Do we do all those exercises, or do we just do the reflections? Because it seems there is conflicting information there. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm more interested with that second part of what the participants would want to know. And I think looking at what I had captured earlier, it's more so the same. And actually, it is like all of us would want to know how schools are prepared to encounter with fire emergency. And I think that is coming repeatedly. Once maybe we get through the presentation, we will be at a given time asking ourselves individually, how are the schools that we are teaching, both students, teachers, and non-support staff members, how prepared are they to counter a fire episode? It is also interesting that at the end of it all, we'll be asking ourselves, how can we put off different type of fire? Which are the steps that we should follow? How do we prevent fire in our schools? How do we evacuate our learners? We are aware many a times when we have fire episodes, most people sometimes take the wrong direction. Others get back maybe to run for property, and at the end of it all, they get burnt. Maybe we can have the final and the last presentation from another group, because I'm saying time is far much gone and we have much to cover. Who is ready to present? And remember, as I said earlier, don't repeat what has been said. Karibu, whoever had started speaking.
All right, this is Josephat from Group 5, and most of the things have been captured, but I'm just going to mention what has not been captured. So in the first place, somebody in our group said that in case of a fire outbreak, you have to scream for help, maybe if you are been left inside the building. And then there was this skill that one of us mentioned, that in case of a fire outbreak, there is this skill for in case you are just doing what we call a fire drop, whereby if you are a teacher in the class, if maybe in the class we have some 2 cards which has been placed strategically, maybe near the door, a green card and also a red card, which all have a different meaning. In case of a fire outbreak, the learners can move out of the class by not running, moving in a single file, heading to maybe a point whereby they will stand in, and then at the same time they have lined up. And then the teacher will come and count the learners. If maybe she has maybe 40 in the class, he or she counts the learners. And then if all the learners are there, she just raise a green card, maybe to a security officer who is moving around the building, showing that there is no single learner who has been left in the room. And if there is a learner who is missing, you can raise up the red card to show that there is a learner who has been left inside the building. And therefore, somebody else said that there are different types of fire. This one has been mentioned, and then somebody was putting across that in some buildings you have some buckets or containers which has sand or maybe soil, and that sand or soil is used to put fire in case of a fire outbreak. And then somebody said that you can use a blanket to put off a fire, whereby you have to wet it, and at the same time, in case there is a fire, you can also wrap it around your body. And then on this column of what you want to know, somebody was asking, why is it not recommended to use water from the tap to put off fire? And then in case there is a fire outbreak in your house, are you supposed to open windows or you close the windows? And then if somebody screams, will that person not inhale the smoke or maybe flames and then get burnt? And in case a Bunsen burner maybe explodes, what are you supposed to do at that time? Thank you.
Thank you, Nyagatain, and the group participants. Let us appreciate those who have presented. I know we are quite many, we may not get time, but I'm reading from the chat box. Apenina want to know how to counter different types of fire. Akenye knows water has, oh sorry, Akenye was responding. I'm seeing quite so many messages. I'm not even able to read through, and much appreciation. But the question are coming up very well. When there is fire episode, do we open or close the windows? And I don't know, Dr. Lee, whether we can do with those presentations. We can
Madam.
still give participants more time.
Excuse me, I would wish to represent the plenary group. There are some things we said that has not been mentioned.
Yeah, go ahead, please, and thank you.
Yes, so one of the things that has not been mentioned is that when a fire occurs, you need to call emergency service providers depending on the magnitude of the fire. Then you can use the 999. Then you can also ring the alarm for the community to come in and help in averting the fire. You can as well use you can ascertain the nature of injuries. Then you organize for the health service providers to come and help those students who would need the health services. Then you need to note the time of the fire so that when there is need for questioning, you can know what to say or when the fire occurred. You can as well organize for post-counseling on fire, because this is an emergency, and emergency would really can torture some people because it is a crisis and it is sometimes a traumatic experience. So you need to organize for that. Then as a school, you need to ensure that the windows, there are no grills so that the exit places can be so many. Then we also, that one I'm just saying whatever has not been mentioned. Then we also would wish to know that what is the longevity of the fire extinguishers? Then we have different colors of the fire extinguishers, that is red, blue, and black. What does each one of them represent? Then we also would wish to know what action to take if a student has been choked by smoke, that is in terms of first aid. And lastly, how to secure a panicked student. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Obuya, for reminding us the fact that fire can be traumatizing, and we are therefore reminding ourselves that guidance and counseling is very key. She is also reminding us loud and clear that we need to call the fire brigade department. Again, we are also reminded that taking a roll call is very key. I know we have much as it was said in the beginning, we are not, we have so much information. We'll be sharing what we know. And allow me, participants, because of time, to invite my sister, Dr. Christine, so that she can proceed from there. If I see a point that has not been mentioned in our chat box, I will shout it out so that we can work together as a team.
Wow.
Dr. Christine?
Thank you very much, Madam Eunice. That was a very engaging session of this lesson. Maybe we can go to the reactions and appreciate everyone who has participated in the plenary and everyone who participated in our groups. Because when we were walking around, all the rooms were active, and that was awesome. Let us go to the reactions and appreciate everybody who has made this session of breakout rooms to be a success. Thank you very much. Now, I want you to follow this video and shortly and reflect on its content as we go through the session. We will be having quite a number of activities, so we will not take a lot of time in each activity, at least for you to see whether the questions that you were asking yourselves, what you want to know, will be answered in the process of the learning session. Let me pull down this and wait. I'm looking for the.
You can try a new share.
That is what I want to do. Yeah, that is what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to share screen. Okay. Wait a minute. I will.
Has been confirmed dead due to heavy smoke from an inferno.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us. Now, one student at PCEA Bahati Girls has been confirmed dead due to heavy smoke from an inferno that raised down.
Maybe you can begin from the beginning so that we can catch up.
Thank you for joining us. Now, one student at PCEA Bahati Girls has been confirmed dead due to heavy smoke from an inferno that raised down part of a dormitory in the school. 73 other students who were affected were rushed to hospital, 68 of whom were discharged, while 2 are still admitted at the Medihill Hospital in Nakuru. The chairman of the Board of Management at the school, Francis Mbugwa, says learning will go on as they repair the dormitory. Alan Ochanda begins our broadcast tonight with that story.
What were the personal effects of students here reduced to ashes? The boxes here reduced to shells, and the debris here that were falling off from the ceiling, painting a picture of the magnitude of the fire that almost raised down the whole building.
This must be the area where the fire started. This side was not affected much.
The cause of the fire that burnt down part of this dormitory at PCEA Bahati Girls remains a puzzle. The school management and education officials who visited the school say the cause of the fire will be unraveled once investigations are complete. A total 53 beds, mattresses and boxes with students' belongings were destroyed. Outside the dormitory, evidence of efforts to put out the fire to save lives and property. A Form 3 student has been confirmed dead due to the heavy smoke that came from the fire. Another lot of 73 were also affected and rushed to hospital, where 68 were treated and discharged and allowed back to school, while 2 are still admitted at the Medihill Hospital in Nakuru. Students and parents are equally shaken.
Mtoto wangu ako sawa, nimempata akiwa sawa. Jana nilikuwa huku shule. Nilikuwa nimemkujia vile alikuwa anasikia poa. Lakini nikaambiwa vile principal hayuko, huwezi toka na mtoto kama principal hayuko. Sheria za shule hapa zinakuwa sawa.
Sasa nilipopigiwa simu ndio tukakuja. Lakini nimemkuta akiwa safe. Wakiwa na anaitwa Tabitha Wangare na Sheira, tumekuta akiwa sawa.
The student who died is said to have been in the affected dormitory during evening preps when the fire started. Education officials say learning at the school will not be affected.
We can't leave the school to be closed just for the sake of closing. But all we are trying to do is to take care that the students will be able to go back to classes. How will they be catered for those who are affected?
We have actually arrived at that decision after talking to the parents and all the other leaders that we do not close the school, because the school is still able to provide for those students that are affected. They will not miss where to sleep. And also, any items that are missing, be they blankets or mattresses, will also be a fail.
A similar incident occurred at Moi Girls Kibra in 2017 and led to the death of 7 students, lifting the lid on the preparedness of schools to deal with such eventualities and the students' security. Alan Ochanda, Kite.
Yeah. Thank you. Now, after following that video, you will be reflecting back.
I was here last week,
And I know you've seen this clip,
Yes.
so I'm going to play it for you. Do we have it? We have it, guys? When I say we have it, I'm talking to my director, but we have the clip. Okay, great. So let's check it out.
Ni kijana kwanza nimwambia siku nyingine akuje nimwandike runda kwangu akakataa kukama.
Akuja fanya nini huko kwako?
Naweza mwandika akue kama compound manager.
Eric Omondi.
Let me stop the video. Allow me to exit full screen. Sorry, allow me to exit full screen so that I can stop it. Madam Eunice, please continue. Let me.
Yeah, Dr. Christine.
Yeah, just continue.
Okay. You want to share which presentation? Participants, we have been able to listen to the news that we had some times back, and I remember we cannot remember that incidents in that school, and we have seen the news coverage, how it was alarming, the deadly school fire. And we are aware that we are dealing with this topic on fire because many of our schools, I'm not sure about the questions which were below the video that we have watched. Maybe Dr. Christine, you can guide us with a few questions that Dr. Christine. Aquera.
She's not.
Did you capture the video that we are watching? Which were the questions below?
The video, you can scroll to the next slide.
Okay. I can just share the presentation. She could be having some challenges, and I think we can proceed as she comes back. I hope, Aquila, I'm able to share the presentation. It is visible from your end.
Yeah, it's visible.
Thank you.
But check on your voice a bit.
Sorry?
The voice, it's breaking.
My voice also. I think I have internet challenges, but I think I'll keep on shouting and checking on my internet. We are handling the topic on the concept of fire and the fire chemistry. And as I said earlier, we are dealing with this topic because, again, it is one of the emergencies that are occurring every now and then in our schools, and also other times even in our homes. And of course, we all can define what is fire. And the four elements of fire that we are able to read through will be guiding us through this topic on fire safety and safe emergency evacuation. And the 4 things that must be present at the same time for us to confirm that there is fire. Of course, we have number 1, enough oxygen to sustain the burning or the fire, ignition, or even the combustion of fire. The second element is the element about enough heat to raise the material to its ignition temperature. Anytime there is an explosion, of course, we are aware that there must have been much heat to raise, if it is maybe pieces of wood, clothing, papers, etc. The element number 3, some sort of fuel or combustible material. And the element number 4, it's the chemical exothermic reaction, that it's fire. And this is all to do with the heat releasing reaction. And for us to be able to take much caution on how now to counter this fire, we must take in cognizance that these elements are very key and could occur in your school at any given time. We may not go to a breakaway room as per se, but I request, sorry?
Yeah, that is okay. One of us to read. So
you
that
are
we
back,
just yes, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you for being there and really being handy.
Sorry, while you are away, I didn't ask any question of the video that we watched because I wasn't sure the guiding questions that you wanted us to discuss.
All right. I just wanted the people in the house, the teachers in the house, to keep on reflecting back to the video we watched and relate with what we are learning to the end. That is just to ignite our thinking and our reasoning on why really we are learning what we are learning today. So I think we can continue the way you had you were going. That is okay. Somebody to read, and then we can now answer the questions together.
Okay, thank you, Aquila. I'm seeing quite a number of participants are raising up their hands. Maybe you can unmute one person to read for us the except that we are seeing. I can see Agatha. Aquila?
Yes.
Hello, I've been unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Proceed, read for us.
Yes, the Ministry of Health recorded a surge in the number of burn victims in the country, with in a significant number of cases occurring in informal settlements. Incidents reported in 2020 exceeded the 200,000 annual average, with the TPD1/2021 ministry having documented 213,770 burn incidents compared to 73,292 in 2019, according to burns awareness statistical data held by government. In 2020, 698 burn victims were admitted at the Kenyatta National Hospital, 20% of whom succumbed to various complications. Male casualties accounted for up to 58% of the incidents reported. The questions: what are the common examples of fire hazards in schools in Kenya? Number 2, what is the state of our schools' preparedness for fire hazards? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sister. Maybe we can again raise up our hands so that we answer the 2 questions. What are the common examples of fire hazards in our schools? Most of them we have actually discussed them already. This is just like a recap. You can also use the chat. Naked electric wires, very common. Thank you. Faulty sources, electricity, cost electricity voltage. Florence Makori. Aquila, unmute Florence Makori. Thank you. Arsonists, electricity, heat smoke, lab accidents, gas leakage, flammable. Yeah, thank you. Please unmute yourself. Electricity, open fires, lab accidents, kitchen accidents, electricity, kitchen, gas. Basically, it's like we are repeating the same things during games. Whom have you unmuted, Aquila?
Florence.
Yeah, Florence, please unmute yourself so that you can speak. You've been given rights.
Yes. Yes, so you have said most of the things I could have said. I could only say lightning. And the chemical explosion and gas explosion in the kitchen.
Wow, in the kitchen and even in our laboratories. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Somebody has said arson, that is maybe caused by students or villagers, people's burning. Sugar, somebody has said something to do with sugar connections. I think basically we know. Now, what is the state of our school's preparedness for fire hazards? How prepared are we? Candles, yes. How prepared are we? Let us go to those, somebody who has raised their hand. Aquila, very fast.
Joyce.
Joyce, very poor, fair. Very unprepared. Yes, Joyce? Joyce, are you answering? Poor? Yeah, people are saying we are not prepared, poor, fair, unprepared, poor, fair, not prepared. Yeah, thank you for those answers. And I think, that is really something to make us worry, because if we are not prepared, then we are still having a problem. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Also, Daktari, have been unmuted.
Yes.
I've also been unmuted. I can say something.
Okay, the 2 of you, then we continue. We start with
what I would.
Yes, continue.
What I would like to say, Daktari, it is very poor to the extent even the fire extinguisher is acting like a flower in the dormitory or in the places, you know, like a decoration. That's something needs to be done seriously. Thank you.
Seriously, yes.
Yes, Daktari, and I also would wish to say that the state of our schools, especially small schools, we don't have any skill on fire handling. Like maybe the staff, the teaching staff and the teachers have no any information on fire handling. And then also the fire handling gadgets like the fire extinguishers and also other equipments are not around. And then also, like if we can get a fire case, we need to maybe conduct our fire machines from maybe the county headquarters or the industries that are around, which take a long time to respond. That makes us that makes the state of preparedness to be very poor.
Really, yeah. And you know, we have reason to worry. you cannot say that my school cannot be banned. Any school can, because the things that we've said that are fire hazards are in all our schools. So about preparedness, not having the skills, it is important that the school management takes it up immediately and look for a way of sensitizing everybody about fire safety, not just the teachers, not just the learners, everybody in the school compound. Now, some of the things that we talked about are here. We talked about candles. When they are left unattended, they can cause fire. Lab cooking appliances like stoves and ovens. Faulty electric wires, we talked about that. Misused electrical appliances, we talked about that. There is also the aspect of overloading the electrical system. You find maybe in a room, the students have decided to start boiling water, using electrical coils without even the knowledge of the administration. So the overloading of electricity can also cause fire. Then the leaking of defective batteries in school vans. That one is something that we didn't mention. We need to know that we have to be keen before the vehicles in our schools start. So let the drivers check whether the batteries are leaking. And then we also talked about the students, rather the learners, ignition, and also arson. So those are the main causes of fires in our schools. And then fires can cause a lot of harm to people. For example, if you look at heat, these flames can burn your skin as well as your eyes and lungs. Then if you go to smoke, so these are the things that come from fire that are very dangerous. If you look at smoke, leave alone the heat, from the video that we watched, it is out of the fumes from the smoke that the girl died. This smoke can be inhaled and cause serious harm to the lungs. Majority of fires which result in death actually come about from smoke inhalation rather than the burns. And then there is lack of oxygen. Since oxygen is one of the 3 components needed for a fire, you remember what Madam Eunice presented, the components that can accelerate, that must be there for a fire to be there. So oxygen is one of them. So lack of oxygen is one thing that can really cause harm, because we survive because we breathe in oxygen. And because the fire uses oxygen, all the oxygen in the room will be consumed. And so once the oxygen is consumed, this means that the fire can burn through the oxygen in a room and leave none for the people to breathe. So because there will be no oxygen in the room, people will suffocate and die. And then damage to the environment. As a fire burns, it will cause damage to the surrounding building and other things in the environment. So these are some of the things that are going to be as a result of fires around us. We have principles of heat propagation. Heat is passed from one area to another through different objects, and the main principles of heat transfer are like 6. So the first one is direct contact. That is the flames themselves. When they come into contact with other fuel sources, they can cause fire because they can catch the fire and then it will spread. For example, when paper and cardboard are set alight, the flame will travel down the fuel and spread very fast. Another one is conduction. Conduction is heat traveling through a solid material. The material does not burn, but instead heats up to a high temperature when it contacts with fire. An example of conduction is through metal. It can, if you hit a metal rod, it is unlikely that it will catch fire, but it will be a source of causing fire. And then there is radiation. Fire causes the air around it to heat up and smoke to be produced. Warm air rises above cool air, and therefore the air that is heated by flames will rise up to the roof or ceiling in a building. That is what we call radiation. This builds up the heat to start new fires as there is enough oxygen and a fuel source. For example, a lot of our offices have suspended ceiling tires, which may set alight if enough hot air rises during a fire. Another one is convection. Fire causes the air around it to heat up and smoke to be produced. Warm air rises above cool air, and therefore the air that is heated by flames will rise up to the roof or ceiling in a building. This does build up the heat so that the heat can start new fires if there is enough oxygen. Remember, oxygen is very important for a fire to be there. And then, for example, most of our offices have suspended cylinders, which may set alight if enough hot air rises during a fire. Then we have what we call flashovers. A flashover happens when hot air from a fire rises to the top of a roof, which then radiates enough heat for objects in the room to heat up. As furniture and other objects get hot, they will begin to give flammable gases. This gas can result in the materials in the room quickly catching the fire simultaneously. And with time, you realize that because of that, everything in the house, everything in the room has caught fire, just like what we saw in that dormitory. That is how the mattresses were burning. That is how the boxes were burning, and so on and so forth. Then we have what we call backdraft. When a fire is not well ventilated, it can start to use up the limited oxygen that is available. This will cause the fire to die down and the flames to reduce. A sudden introduction of oxygen, such as a door opening or a window breaking, can then result in the fire starting again, and it can really be very bad. These restarts will often be very explosive as oxygen rushes back into the mix. Remember, it was like nothing is happening, but all of a sudden, oxygen comes in. The moment oxygen comes in through whichever opening, then that is what we call backdraft, and so it can cause an explosion. We have various causes of fire that we have summarized in this table. We have the heat source, and then we have the type of extinguisher that should be used. Remember, when we came back to the plenary after our breakout rooms, one of us really elaborated and was very clear that not all extinguishers can be used at any time. Depending on the type of fire, you can use a certain extinguisher, whether foam or powder or water, to put off the fire. So the first heat source are the solids. We are talking about ordinary materials such as cloth, mattress, wood, paper, etc. The only type of extinguisher that you should use for this class A fire is the water extinguisher. The water will put off the fire very fast. So it is—
Excuse me, Dr.
Yes?
Can you put slideshow so that—
oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, slideshow so that it can be visible, at least.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Eunice. And so what we are saying, we have these 6 classes. It is important to know that this heat source belongs to this class. For instance, I have said for class A, it is the class of solids. Class B is the class of liquids. Class C is the class of flammable gases. Class D is the class of metals. Class E is the class of electrical fires. And finally, class F is the class of cooking fats and oils. Now, each of these classes can only be extinguished using a different kind of extinguisher. For example, for class A, you can, the most appropriate extinguisher to use is the water extinguisher. For class B, that is where we have liquids, that is flammable liquids such as grease, gasoline, lubricating oils, and other hydrocarbonates. We are saying that we need to use foam or powder extinguishers because these ones are the best for this. Then when we have flammable gases, while extinguishers can be used on the class C gas fires, the only safe method to attack this type of fire is to shut off the gas supply. Yeah, shut it off immediately. Powder extinguisher should be used if it is not immediately possible to turn off the gas. So as soon as you realize that the fire is from a gas cylinder, go and switch off the gas cylinder. But if it has gone beyond, then use powder extinguishers. Then we have metals, where we are talking about combustible metals such as sodium, potassium, and magnesium. That is class D. Class D fires. We are saying that for that class, the best method to use is dry powder extinguishers. And then when we come to electrical fires, that is class E fires, electrical fires are not given their own free class because they can fall in any of the other classes. This is because it is not the electricity that burns, but the surrounding materials that has been set alight by the electric current. So depending on what is surrounding the electricity, yeah, then we use the most appropriate. If it is about us having solids around, you go for water. If it is liquids, you go for foam or powder. If it is gases, you go for powder extinguishers. If it is metals, you go for dry powder extinguishers. Then we have the cooking fat and oils, that is those that fall under class F. Remember, you are supposed to be very careful about food. Never leave food or frying equipment unattended during use. The only type of fire extinguisher approved to use on cooking oils or fats is the wet chemical extinguisher. Yeah. For small class F fires, you can also use fire blankets. Somebody talked about fire blankets. You can use fire blankets, or if you don't have a fire blanket, you wet a blanket and then you cover, and then the fire will go off. Now, from the charts or types of fire, we were supposed to identify fires that are likely to happen in our institutions of learning and point out where the fire is likely to take place. Maybe it is important for us to just have 2-3 people tell us something about this activity. From what I've just discussed, what are the likely fires that we are likely to have in our institutions, and where specifically do you think this can happen? So with hands raised up, let us share very fast. Juliet Odindo, Aquila, please unmute Juliet. Unmute Juliet Odindo. Then you unmute Sister Rachel Riithi. Yeah, Juliet, unmute yourself.
Hello, madam.
Yes.
Yeah, we have fire which can break out in our learning institution are caused by arsons.
Arsons? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where a student decides to use petroleum to set up the dorm section where they normally sleep. That is in boarding schools.
Mm-hmm.
We can also have explosions in the lab
mm-hmm.
due to gases or chemicals used in the laboratory, and this also can cause fire. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sister.
Yes, we can have fires, especially from the flammable gases. This mostly in the laboratories, where we find that when experiments are going on, learners may interfere with that. And we also may have electrical fires, especially in the dormitories and even in the classrooms, where sometimes we are, having naked wires, and learners are curious in understanding what is happening. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joseph Njoroge. Joseph Njoroge, unmute, yes.
Class F, cooking fats and oils in our school kitchens. Hello?
Oh, yes, we've gotten you.
Yeah,
Patricia?
I'm talking.
Yes. Patricia Malonza?
Yes, we can also have the solid fires from the kitchen, especially from the cooking firewood that is in the kitchen.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Florence Makori. Then we finish with Akinyi Mary. Florence, unmute yourself.
As we wait for Florence, can I go ahead?
Yes, Akinyi.
Yeah, Daktari, I'm wondering where we can categorize this. Fire caused by a candle. Sometimes when students are swatting and they use it illegally, and then it maybe catch up the curtain. Where can we categorize that kind of fire?
Solids.
Solids.
Solids, because at the end of it all, it is the clothes, the mattresses, the paper, the wood that will get the fire. Yeah, thank you.
So in that case, we use what you call water extinguisher.
Yes.
Now, this mentioning water, Daktari, I'm kind of perplexed because there's oxygen in water, or this is the oxygenated water.
We have fire extinguishers. Professionals have prepared fire extinguishers, and these fire extinguishers are of different categories.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And finally, let me have a man. Robert, unmute yourself. Njeru.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
I'm Robert Jeru. I'm saying, for example, in hotels, sometimes those people who work there, as they cook mandazi or other things that are baked, they may spill water over the liquids as they boil, and they causes the fire.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that is also now in schools now that will go to the home science rooms, I think, yeah?
Okay.
Then, thank you very much. Florence?
No, what I was saying has already been said, madam.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was really good. Can we appreciate all the people who've enabled the session to get some insights? Let's appreciate them. Let's go to the reactions. It's always important to appreciate anybody who has contributed to the success of your class, even your learners. It really raises their self-esteem. That is what we call self-efficacy in CBC. Then we have firefighting equipment. The first one that we've just been talking about are the fire extinguishers, because we have different equipments that we can use to fight the fire. When you don't have fire extinguishers, does not mean that there is nothing else you can do about that. However, this when you go to fire marshals, they will always provide these different fire fighting equipment to our learning institutions. For example, we have fire extinguishers, which I've talked about. The fire extinguishers can be filled with powder, either powder water additive, a foam, or carbon dioxide. When choosing a fire extinguisher, be sure you pick one that will fight the fire, just as we have just discussed previously. Then we have fire hoses, yeah? They look like that. If you look at my slide, you can see what I'm talking about. Now that is what we call a fire hose. The fire hose reel lets out a powerful stream of water that extinguishes large fires. A fire hose is one of the standard types of firefighting equipment, and it is effective against even the largest fires. So when you call for fire extinguishers or the fire marshals, this is what they usually use. When they come with the vehicles, that is what they usually have in their vehicles. Then we have fire buckets. There is a standard red bucket that has the word fire written on it, and it is made of metal or plastic. It can be filled with water, and you can fill it with a flame smoothing powder like sand or soil to use. Dump the bucket content on the fire and keep repeating the process until the fire is out. That means you have to use your energy. You pick either the water, the powder, sand, or soil as you pour onto the fire. And then we have fire blankets, which most of us are conversant about. Fire blankets are used to smoother small fires that start in for example, school's kitchen. Like we've said, cooking oil. When there is a fire from cooking oil, you will use the fire blankets. Normal blankets, as I said, can be used. However, they allow little air to go through. So you can as well use the normal blankets, but we have standardized blankets that are called fire blankets that you can have in your learning institution. Now, I want us to watch this video. On the safe use of portable fire extinguishers. Let me share the sound. Okay.
How to properly use a fire extinguisher using... How to use a fire extinguisher. In this short video, we'll cover how to properly use a fire extinguisher using the PASS method. Now, it's important to note that if a fire does occur in your workplace, that you follow these 3 important steps. Step 1. Once you've seen the fire, first grab the closest fire extinguisher, ensuring it's the correct type and class appropriate to extinguish the fire, and always make sure to keep your back to an unobstructed exit. If you do not think that you can put out the fire safely, make sure to evacuate the building. Step 2. Once you have your fire extinguisher, stand 6 to 8 feet away from the fire. Step 3. Follow the PASS 4-step procedure. First is P for pull. Pulling the pin unlocks the operating lever and allows you to discharge the extinguisher. Next is A for aim. Make sure to aim the extinguisher nozzle or hose at the base of the fire. The first S is squeeze. Squeeze the lever. This discharges the extinguishing agent. Releasing the lever will stop the discharge. The second S is for sweep. While discharging the extinguisher, start moving towards the fire. Keep the extinguisher aimed at the base of the fire and sweep back and forth until the flames appear to be out. Once the fire has been extinguished, make sure to watch the fire area. If the fire reignites, repeat the process. Always remember that smoke generated from the fire can be harmful and even fatal. Never attempt to extinguish a fire unless it is safe to do so. Now to recap the PASS 4-step procedure. P is for pull the pin. A is for aim the nozzle. The first S is for squeeze the lever. And the second S is for sweep.
Thank you very much.
At Grand River Occupational, how to use a fire.
Discuss the availability, condition, and status of service of fire extinguishers in your schools. I think this one we've already discussed because we've already said that in most of our schools, we don't have. And in some of our schools, the schools that have, they are not functional. They are like decorations in our schools. I think we don't have to take a lot of time looking at this activity. It is important for us now to go back and rethink the fire extinguishers. Now, when do you use a fire extinguisher? When do you use a fire extinguisher? Madam Eunice. Madam Eunice, are you there?
Okay. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Christine.
Yeah, please. Yeah, please, you can help us to understand this.
I also wanted to mention that we are aware that in some of our schools, yes, we have fire extinguisher, but most of them have even expired. So it is good that the schools with fire extinguishers, we can guide the management to keep on checking on the expiry dates. Likewise, I was reading through the chat. Some participants are saying they have fire extinguishers, but they have not been trained on how to use them. And I might say likewise that because you are here this evening and you are learning about the fire extinguishers, I think you are the right person to guide others. You can either begin training the staff members, again, some few students here and there, so that at least we can create awareness on how to use our fire extinguishers. In our schools, we can use fire extinguishers after the fire alarm has been erased. And maybe, I think it was even mentioned earlier, that we are all aware that in most of our schools, we have an assembly point. And in that assembly point, that is where we have an alarm, that it's a bell that can be rung when there is a fire episode. Many of the times, maybe we can even ask ourselves, when can we tell that maybe it is a fire alarm that it's ringing and not our kawaida bells? Because the schools which do not have a fire alarm, they use their normal bells. And that's why we are saying it is good that we prepare our students and also our staff members in our schools, the kind of an alarm bell associated with fire, so that when it goes on, everybody in the school community can know that it is an alarm for fire. The fire is in its very early stages, that it's when the fire is starting. We are hopeful that it's when the bell, or rather the alarm, should go on. And therefore, it only requires one fire extinguisher. Remember, again, depending on the personnel that are trained on how to use the fire extinguishers in a place, we cannot have a number of people using the same fire extinguisher. It is one personnel to one fire extinguisher, depending on how much the fire is. Again, the fire does not involve electrics, or it is not near live electrical equipment, unless using an extinguisher with the electrical lightning bolt symbol on the label showing it has been tested for use on this type of fire. Remember, again, depending the school size, the school population determines your preparedness and also the gadgets for responding to fire episodes that a school could be having. Meaning that, therefore, we keep on advising that this fire extinguisher should not be placed near electronics. Again, we do not use a fire extinguisher when the room is not full of smoke. Many of the times when the fire is beginning, Sometimes, depending on the site, there may be no smoke. So if you cannot detect much smoke, maybe from even the outside, you're not supposed to use the fire extinguisher. Again, we use fire extinguisher when we have the correct extinguisher for the type of fire. I will advise later on when we upload the readings for this topic. You read through the types of fire extinguishers so that you can be able to know which fire extinguisher you can employ at a given different time, depending on the size of the fire. Again, we use fire extinguisher while we are 1 meter from the fire. We are therefore saying, and I think it was even mentioned yesterday, anytime that you are responding to an emergency, you must remain calm. And again, you must take care of your security. And therefore, we advise that you keep a meter off so that you can also avoid from getting burnt. We use fire extinguishers again when emergency services have been called. And remember, these emergency services can either reach to us through the shouting that learners can make, or even other school community members. It can be
sorry, Madam Eunice,
through an alarm or say from far. You should not use a fire extinguisher. Sorry, Madam.
No, we had lost you. I was just.
We should not use a. Sorry, Dr. Christian.
I was saying we had lost you. I just wanted to know if you are still there.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. We shouldn't use a fire extinguisher when the fire is too big or would require more than one fire extinguisher. Remember again, as I said earlier, the size of the fire determines whether you can contain that fire via one given fire extinguisher. Likewise, you shouldn't use a fire extinguisher if the fires involves escaping gases or high voltage electronics, when there are high levels of smoke, and when the area is too hot. And the reason behind it simply it's because you may not be able to contain that fire.
Oh. Thank you.
Madam Christine, you are moving the slides for me.
Yeah.
We have done with that slide.
Yeah.
Move to the next slide.
Study the photo above and discuss your observations concerning fire safety in schools.
Yeah, that is where we are. Kindly, participants, let us look at the photo. Graph that we are seeing, so that a few of us can share what they are able to observe. It might not be very visible, but I'm sure Aquila and mute a few of us so that they can share what they are able to observe. You have different groups of peoples.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you, Madam and Daktari. For me, what I can observe from that picture, there is no safety. simply because I can see even some children are running towards the fire. And there's no, I don't see any protection gadgets there as per the ground. So on that photo, for me, there's no safety. And it's like people are not prepared because another one is standing at akimbo. Nothing at all. It's like nothing is happening. So it showed unpreparedness on the ground. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we may not have much time, but again, maybe if you are careful, you get exactly what happens to school when a dormitory or even a laboratory burns. We have those who just stare, you know, they're just looking. It's like either they are saying there is fire, yes, but to them maybe it's like wacha kuchomeke. Of course, we usually have those who are scared completely, and from far maybe they can even start running away from the site, either screaming. We have the sharp ones, of course, who can even mobilize for other students to get buckets of water so that they can try to put the fire off. But again, this depends on the cause of fire and the preparedness of the school community members. Dr. Christine.
Thank you very much, Madam Eunice. Now, let us look at the location. Where can we place the fire extinguishers, or where are the fire extinguishers placed? Yeah, where to place a fire extinguisher? Now, for example, if you look at the picture that is there, you can see that most fire extinguishers are placed next to a wall. Fire extinguishers should be permanently mounted on brackets, floor stands, or in extinguishers cabinets in conspicuous positions that can easily be seen by everybody. That if anybody walks into a building, they are able to spot that is a fire extinguisher. This could be near to room exits, corridors, stairways, lobbies, and even landings. Fire extinguishers are also often located near fire alarms, call points, so that someone can raise the alarm and then pick up the extinguisher very fast. So you will realize that where there is a fire alarm, there is some fire extinguisher there, so that as the alarm is going, somebody can easily pick the gadget and start using it. Now, we also need to be very keen about the visibility of the location of the fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers should be clearly visible and predominantly red. That is why they are all red. In actual sense, it's about red, because red can be seen easily. Where this is not possible, through either position or color, signs should be used to indicate the location of the fire extinguishers. Then when it comes to mounting, Christina Cheng, your hand is up. Maybe Aquila, you can unmute Christine, that after I'm done with this, she can say what she has. On mounting fire extinguishers, extinguishers should be in a fixed position, whether it is mounted on a wall or on a fire extinguisher stand, or even like this one. This is a fire extinguisher stand. Christine, what was your concern? Okay, maybe your hand was up by mistake. Now, it is also important to look at fire safety. Before we discuss the concept of fire safety, let us observe this picture. Study the picture, study the photo, And let us discuss our observations concerning fire safety in our schools. Because of time, we could have gone to breakout rooms, but because of time, forgive us for today, because we are very limited time to finish the presentation. Allow us just to use the chat. And if you can also voice your insights or your answers, you can raise up your hand so that you can speak as the rest listen. In the meantime, please be reading what your colleagues are writing on the chat. That is the only way we can learn. Peer learning is very effective and it is the best way to go. That is why we are engaging you over and over again. Now, what are your observations concerning fire safety in schools? Mahambala's hand is up. Aquila, unmute Mahambala.
I'm already unmuted.
Okay, continue.
This is Mahambala. I think the state of our schools is not well prepared, just from the photo seen. This fire seems to have consumed seemed to have attacked the school in different directions. I'm seeing almost 3 buildings being consumed. And because of the poor preparedness of our schools, it becomes hard for the management of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Who else has raised their hand?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mahamala. Tasmin, unmute yourself.
Yeah, hello, Malimu. I would like to make a comment about the fire. This is something which we cannot control. Of course, we have to be very careful where we are working in our environment. But this reminded me of a fire which occurred in Cape Town a few years ago. And there was fire in the forest, and that fire led into the city. And it went up to the university, and my daughter is there. It was so frightening because it was almost reaching their place in the campus where they live. So they had to actually evacuate the place, move out of there. Just after they moved out, the fire was under control. And so much was being done. People are trying so hard to stop the fire. It just wasn't stopping. It went on for the whole day. So what I'm thinking is, yes, what happens in the environment we can control, that it doesn't get out of hand. We don't get such dangerous situations. But I'm just wondering if we have such things which come up naturally and wouldn't even be prepared so much in our part of the world, what would happen? It sounds it feels very frightening to think about it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Sister?
Okay, yes, I'm looking at the diagram and I am a bit worried of the closeness of the buildings, because I'm thinking that if those buildings were not closely attached to one another, then there would not be such a disaster. Therefore, it is good for a good planning of the placement of the different buildings as a safety precaution against fires. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Simon? Unmute yourself.
I think this school was fully unprepared at all, because it seems they never attended the fire, possibly when it was starting, possibly because they did not have the apparatus the instrument to help them to do that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tom. Tom, unmute yourself. Okay, Samuel, go on.
Oh, thank you. This fire, from the look of it, seems like it must have been either gas or petrol, because it seems uniform across all the corners, and it will be difficult for fire to spread like that unless it was gas or fire. So maybe it was a gas explosion or an intentional move to cause the fire in that building, from the way it looks.
Mm-hmm. Somebody is saying a school cannot fight such a fire without external intervention. It is true. So next is, whom have I given right? Terewa, Caleb.
Now, I watched that usually when this kind of school goes as far as
Terewa, you are cracking. You are cracking. Sorry, your internet could be low. Thompson.
Yes. So thank you, Dr. And I think this is the sad truth that the level of preparedness in our school is wanting. And I think we have seen even several schools, even the national school, which we may think that they are well prepared, building being raised down. So actually, most of our schools, this is the state which they are in. And I think something must be done if we have to save property and life. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Philemon.
You're right. Thank you, Dr. One thing I want to add is to what the speaker before said is that we are unprepared in many cases. For instance, looking at this fire, it's either a fire which started out of an explosion or something like that, or the manpower on the ground did not raise the alarm in good time, so that the fire developed and nobody took any attention to the fire and maybe tried to stop it from spreading. So this is a situation that went overboard. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. We can discuss and discuss and discuss, but from the activity that we've just looked at, you may have noticed that safety of the learners and the others on site are at risk from the fire. So let us look at the concept of fire safety. Fire safety in schools, as we all know, is actually taking precaution to be able to prevent or reduce the likelihood of a fire that could end up in death or damaging property or injuring learners or teachers or other support staff members and other stakeholders. Therefore, fire safety measures must be used as early as the construction of a school starts. So as you start the construction, like one of us said, that the planning was not done well. When you have all buildings in a row together, they are all together, it is really going to be very difficult to manage such kind of a fire. It is important sometimes to break the buildings, even if they are supposed to be continuous, to have a break in between so that there is some space that will not allow the fire to move to the other building. Assessments and inspections which have been done in schools suggest that non-teaching and accommodation area contains the highest fire risk, that is fire hazards. Non-teaching areas such as the kitchen, the offices, prep rooms, storage areas, and electrical switch rooms are actually the most vulnerable areas. Schools have to adhere to a lot of school safety rules, and fire safety in schools is actually the most important requirement of in our schools. Fire safety equipment, drills, and procedures to fire safety methods must be completed in school facilities so that every person, everybody, as I had said earlier, should have information, should know how to handle the fire extinguishers, how to manage fire, and how to respond. That in case of anything, just like Madam Eunice has said, the first thing that you need to be conscious about is to be calm and also to be at safe distance, to be able to know the most appropriate manner to respond to a fire outbreak. Now, we've already discussed this. Now who is to blame to be accountable for the fires that happen in our schools? Who is to blame? We have discussed the various causes of fires in our institutions of learning, but we've not discussed B. Now, when it comes to the fires, Jasmine, who is to blame? Your hand is up.
The police, the people who have to implement the policy. So I would say the topmost administration to make it happen, and the school administration and the management. Because, and of course, then we come down to the people who are in the areas on the field. But they have to be facilitated with all these tools to control the fire, to control the hazards. So people who, sorry, thank you.
Continue, sorry, Jasmine, just continue. We're saying people.
Yes, sorry, I was saying the crucial aspect here is facilitation of resources. You know, with enough resources, we can do a lot, good planning, a commitment, diligence. So basically, I would say it starts from the top notch of the pyramid.
Thank you very much. Osundwa?
I think it's the government to blame on matters to do with the school infrastructure. Sometimes you may find the school has a good intentions, but the prerogatives or the laid down procedures under which they're supposed to spend the funds available are so many in a way that the school cannot easily be able to implement its programs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter Oeri.
Thank you for the chance. In my opinion, there could be a myriad of people who are supposed to take responsibility. Of course, topmost in a school should be the principal and the management. The government comes in, but at the same time, even the lower cadre, that is people like now myself who have learned something about fire safety. In case we do nothing, we should also take responsibility. So in a way, each person within the compound or within the school community has some responsibility. But the most important thing is, after we have known what we have known, what mechanisms have we put in place? Perhaps we try. Now, even if nobody's willing, at least we also try. We show that we have tried to do something about it. Just in case there is an outbreak, it just gets contained. All of us, in one way or the other, now I think should be carrying some responsibility. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Vincent Mudama.
Yes, mine is involvement of all the stakeholders at the initial stages of planning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Judith? And then we finish with Gathogo. Judith, unmute yourself.
Okay. I think according to me, everybody that is a stakeholder is to be blamed, but it also depends on the situation, because there are some schools which have tried their level best to at least to take precaution and get prepared, but there are times when accidents occur and actually you may not blame them. So it depends on the situation. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. And finally, Gadogo.
Me, what I would say, it starts with the person on the ground, the first person who saw the fire. But above all, preparedness is a must for everybody, all the stakeholders, from the first person who initiated the construction, would have been mindful of the fire, to the person who is using the facility. Everyone, every stakeholder is a must to make sure that fire doesn't happen.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, these are some of the reasons that we've already discussed. Just peruse through and see which one we have not, we've not talked about. Just peruse through. I hope you're able to see. These are some of the reasons why Kenyan schools are burning. Yeah, we have drug abuse, we have poor examination preparation. Our children will want to ban schools because they are not ready for that exam. An exam is just threatening to anybody. So to do away with the exam, they want to ban. And then poor communication, harassment, peer influence, poor parenting. When some teachers that students love get transferred, students will react. They want to ban the school so that the teacher comes back. You wonder if the teacher will really come back because of that. Then we have political influence. We have social decadence, poor school management, abolition of corporal punishment, and then overloaded curriculum and low teachers' morale. So there are many, many other reasons as to why our schools could be burning beyond the normal accidents, beyond the normal accidents. Now, here are some of the measures to reduce fire tragedy in our schools. Maintain proper fire exits and exit signages. You need to have exit signs that can function in a power failure. And then placing and maintaining fire extinguishers in easily accessible places as I already informed you. Then proper storing, using of hazardous materials that may be needed inside the building or the school for storage or operation requirements. We need to store hazardous materials safely. And then prohibiting flammable materials in certain areas of the facility, maintaining fire alarm systems for detection and warning of fire, obtaining and maintaining a complete inventory of fire safety equipment in the school. It is important to continue replenishing the extinguishers time after time, maintaining a high level of training, as we had said, awareness for the learners, for the staff, and other users of school building, and also conduct fire drills. It is really very important to conduct fire drills for people to know when there is a fire, what needs to be done. They need to run to the fire point, the safety point where now at the end of it all, a head count will be done to know who is there, who is not there, so that the next steps can be taken. The education stakeholders together with students have suggested several measures to reduce fire tragedies in the country, because Kenya has had, I think, the highest so far recorded cases of schools burning. So some of the fire prevention tips that educators have come up with, parents, students, are as follows: that we need to have counseling being intensified in our schools. We educate our learners on issues to do with drug abuse. Today I was in Mangu High School talking to the boys in Form 1. And one of the things we were looking at are the R's of sustainability. And one of the R's is refuse. So when I was asking them, what can you refuse as a student? It was so loud. One of them said, refuse drug abuse, refuse homosexuality. You know, we need to educate our children about this, why they need to refuse drug abuse, and then develop clear communication channels, train school administrators on good management, proper planning and preparation of exams. You know, that examination phobia. If our learners are well prepared, if they are told in advance, if they are psychologically prepared to know that an exam does not kill, to know that they need to be prepared well for this exam so that they don't feel threatened, And then timely funds disbursement in schools, avoiding politicking school management issues. That is one area that we really need to be careful about. Anything happening in school, you are taking it to the market. So people in the market are thinking about it differently. And then good parenting is also very important. Because if we have parents teaching our learners good values like responsibility, values like respect, the learners, the students, when they come to school, they will respect the school as it is, as the school property. So they will not go out to really want to destroy the school if they are responsible children. So we have prevention measures, such as students need to be trained by firefighters on how to use some of the firefighting equipment like the fire extinguishers, taking notice of any electricals left unattended and candles not blown out. School authorities should make sure that electrical wiring is regularly inspected. This is very important. That you need to ask experts, the electricians, to sometimes come and check whether all the electrical wires are safe. And then also, they should practice fire safety among the users of the school facility, e.g., always unplug electrical appliances when not in use and replace damaged or old electrical cords. Install detection systems such as heat detectors, smoke detectors, alarm systems, and break glass pint, among others. Put in place fire action emergency plan. It is very important so that students and teachers know what to do in case of a fire, and then carry out periodic or regular fire drills or evacuation drills, yeah? How to evacuate somebody who has been caught in it. Then have safety signals, fire safety signals in any institution. For example, showing the direction of the exits and location of the extinguishers. Recognize fire brigade departments as a partner in school safety promotion. And also, when you are out of a burning dormitory or building, don't run back in to save anything. Your life is more precious than property. Get out and stay out. That is a golden rule that we must put in mind. That once you have found yourself out of that building, please just stay out, yeah? Stay out and let somebody else come to save whoever will have been caught in the fire, not you. Now for evacuation, safe emergency evacuation include the actions to be taken by all staff and learners in the event of a fire, and the arrangements for calling the fire brigades. It's important to note that in safe emergency evacuation, the following factors are critical. Let us watch this video and identify various types of fire evacuation strategies, and then you can list down the safe emergency evacuation factors to be considered.
The primary objective of an evacuation strategy is to ensure that in the event of a fire, the occupants of a building. The primary objective of an evacuation strategy is to ensure that in the event of a fire, the occupants of a building can reach a place of ultimate safety outside the building. There are two basic approaches to evacuation: total evacuation, which may be simultaneous or phased, and progressive evacuation. Total evacuation strategies. Total simultaneous evacuation is the standard approach used in premises where it would be unreasonable to expect the occupants to remain in an affected area for a prolonged period of time when there is a fire. Typically, the fire alarm sounders indicate an immediate evacuation and all occupants proceed to a place of ultimate safety. Phased evacuation occurs in 2 stages. Key staff are alerted before the fire alarm sounders are activated, giving an opportunity to investigate, confirm the fire, and prepare the evacuation response. A phased approach is commonly used in multi-storey premises where people on the storey most at risk are evacuated in the first instance, and then the remaining storeys are evacuated at phased intervals. Progressive evacuation strategies. Progressive horizontal evacuation is typically used in hospitals and nursing homes. Vulnerable people are initially evacuated into an adjoining fire compartment on the same storey, allowing time for the fire service response and organising for full evacuation to a place of ultimate safety if necessary. Zoned evacuation strategies are often adopted in large retail developments to avoid significant operational losses as a consequence of a relatively small fire. Occupants are moved away from the affected zone into an adjacent zone, while the fire-affected zone is brought under control.
Thank you very much. So as you've learned, we have total evacuation and progressive evacuation. To be able to follow this, you can go through the video because we are sharing the YouTube. You go through the video and try to follow step by step. Now, some of the safe emergency evacuation include simultaneous evacuation, vertical phased evacuation, staff alarm evacuation, that is silent alarm, and then we have the defend in place evacuation. Yeah. Now, what actions need to be taken on hearing of a fire alarm? On discovering a fire alarm, it is the duty of every member of the school community to sound the nearest fire alarm immediately on discovering a fire. Anybody should raise the alarm, anybody. Whoever is very close to the alarm, raise. If you can scream and shout fire, 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 but you scream while running away from the building, that is a way of setting an alarm. Calling fire brigade. The fire service should be informed immediately, either by the school switchboard operator or person discovering fire. It is very important. Sometimes you don't have to go through the protocol. Sometimes if you are able, just straight to the fire brigades, let them get information very fast, and then you can now later start the protocol to inform the CD and whoever for them to take the relevant measures. And then identification of key escape routes in buildings where members of the school community or persons and familiar with the layout of the school are present. There should be means available to identify the key escape routes. They should include schematic drawings, and most importantly, emergency escape and exit signs, as shown in the image that I showed you before. And then we have fire assembly points, that is where the roll call is usually taken. This should be a central place that every person from any building from the compound can easily reach. For fire assembly points to serve their purpose, they must be easily accessible and have an unobstructed pathway leading to them. The learner, staff, and other members of the school community should assemble at a predetermined assembly point and a roll call taken. This is very important. The only way to know that everybody is safe is to ensure you have a fire assembly point, and in case of a fire, everybody should run there. Don't run to your house. Please, just go to the fire assembly point for the sake of the roll call. And then as we come to the end, there is this activity. Before we look at the fire drills. Madam Eunice, what do you think about this activity? We have 21 minutes.
I'm thinking maybe we can skip the activity because our participants will be able to log into the Kemi virtual campus so that we can be able to catch up
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. And besides, we
the
shared
slides which are remaining, they are quite a number.
Yeah, besides, we shared these activities to your WhatsApp walls. Please just go through it.
There are 10 more slides to go. We can.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam Eunice, for that direction. So participants, please, this is your activity. It is just to help you really get to continue appreciating the fact that it is important for us to get to know about evacuation methods and the best way to go about fire emergencies. Now, when it comes to fire drills in schools, Madam Eunice, tell us something about fire drills in schools. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Christine. Remember, we are saying students, teachers, support staff are hardly prepared on how to manage the fire episode. All of us, we should be able to guide the school management so that we can undertake a number of fire drills in our schools. Whether you have ever encountered fire or not, remember again, this is an accident and we should be able to prepare ourselves adequately. And we are therefore advising that every school, regardless of its size, needs to carry out fire drills on a regular basis. And this is to how to manage fire. Again, we are also saying the fire drills will also help the school community to fully grasp the escape routes of the school building and the instructions they must follow, so that they can be if we have the fire assembly point, let all the members of the school community know that they can only assemble at that given point when maybe there is an alarm fire. Remember again, as we carry these drills, we must ensure that we enlighten our land the kind of alarm that they should hear to tell or rather to determine that there is fire in school. Who are still maturing understand what fire safety is all about and what they should do when there is a fire. This can also help reduce disorderly behavior, confusion, and panic. It will also help teachers to be conversant with their roles. Remember again, sometimes when school were burning last time, even the teachers, most of them did not know how to manage those fires. And we are therefore saying maybe if we can have these drills in our school, the teachers can be able to guide the learners on what to do in case of a fire. The drills can be done maybe either after the school or even during the assembly time. Many of the times, sometimes we ask, can we begin these drills without alerting our, do it as a surprise? This can be very dangerous because again, it can cause more panic and even harm in the school. And we are therefore advising, if maybe you want to do the drills with the students, it is good that you alert them first so that they can know that you are doing the drills together. And once you have done maybe a drill in a day at a given time, you can choose to practice whether the school community were able to take up the drills effectively. And we are therefore saying this can be done during lunchtime. Fire safety drills, we are saying they're very...
Sorry, Madam. Sorry, Madam Eunice. Madam Eunice.
Because again, we will be letting our students also. Yeah, Dr. Christine?
You are breaking a lot. I think your internet, yeah.
Oh, I think it's my internet. It's my internet.
Yeah, let me just continue from there.
It's not stable tonight, struggling.
Sorry for that, but thank you very much for the insights. Where you stopped, I think it was clear that we need to do the fire drills during assembly times, during lunch hour breaks, in the evening after school. And it is important to note that fire safety drills in schools are of critical importance, as they help us in many, many ways. For example, for instance, fire drills will help us test whether your school roll calling procedure is okay, remind staff and students of the sound or site of fire alarms, the location of emergency routes, the assembly points, and any specific safety procedures, and tests that fire safety measures work as intended. Assess how quickly people can evacuate from the school, identify areas where alarms or signs may not be clear to people, give fire wardens an opportunity to practice their duties. You know, they are at work. So if you give them time to come and do the drills, that is part of their work. So give them an opportunity to exercise their expertise, and then test personal emergency evacuation plans. Ensure that emergency routes and exits are free from obstructions. And as I earlier said, it's also good for you to test your school's roll calling procedure. That is during the school drills. And then we have strategic interventions in maybe a war, conflict, famine, or terrorism situation. Like a case in hand, we can remember what happened during the bomb blast in Nairobi. Yeah, emergencies can disrupt a child's education for years, remember? This means children miss out on vital learning and are deprived of a safe place to be when they are in very traumatic situations. Access to education is a basic right that is also applicable in emergency settings. It's important that children and youth return to learning as soon as possible after interruption. After meeting the basic needs of the children, the government should ensure that they are provided with opportunities to continue with their learning. So when there is an instance of a fire, like what you saw in the video that we started with, you remember? At the end of it all, the educators, the officers were saying, we don't see any reason as to why these children should stop learning, because the school is able to provide room for those whose dorm was burnt to sleep, and also to provide the necessary items that the children need. So the government should always provide for means to be able to cater for the basic needs of the children. In emergencies, education offer opportunities for young people to receive information about their rights, available services, disease prevention, safety, and physical security, including mine risk awareness, and access to psychological support services. That is why we have to talk about education in emergencies. because education in emergencies means providing schools in humanitarian emergencies, including conflicts or wars, natural disasters, or health-related crises such as COVID outbreak. So as much as we've been talking about fire, it is also important to discuss the big picture of school emergencies. So it is critical, beyond just talking about fire, get to know that there are other issues that might require us to have conversations around them. Therefore, lack of access to relevant quality education opportunities can result in loss of peer support networks, social isolation, increased need for mental health and psychological support services, increased likelihood of early marriages and pregnancies, increased risk of child labor and economic exploitation, forced recruitment into armed groups, exploitative sexual relationships, transactional survival sex and DBV, irregular onward movement and trafficking, long-term social and economic exclusion of the refugee communities, and heightened rates of poverty. Teaching and learning strategies during emergencies, use of schools as shelters, in partnership with school stakeholders of the school premises can provide shelter to children and members of the community in case of emergencies, and also establish temporary learning spaces with literacy, numeracy, psychosocial, recreational activities. Then determine whether there are existing programs such as accelerated education programs or materials approved by the national authorities that can be used in the response. Also ensure that the community remains well informed about education services being offered in the school. Yeah, there is a relationship between the four concepts. That is the comprehensive school health and safety, health literacy, social determinant of health, and health education. Now, in this chapter, we have learned about the concept of comprehensive school health and related components such as school health, health education, health literacy, social determinants of health, and even the last topic that we've just covered on fire safety. It is important to explain how these components are related, how they are interrelated. So we need to look at this Venn diagram and try to see how the three are interrelated. That is health and health education, social determinants of health, and health literacy. If you look at these three at the center, the fourth one now, which is comprehensive school health, is actually now about all of them coming together. Now, from that, it is evident that there is an interrelationship amongst the concept of school health and safety, health literacy, social determinants of health, and health education. The major concern for all the concept is actually comprehensive school health and safety. At the end of it all, it is about everything that we've covered for the last 5 days. This clearly illustrates that for learning to take place effectively, all aspects of comprehensive school health and safety of the learners, teachers, stakeholders, and even the community is important. Yeah, now that brings us to the end of our conversation today, and to the end of the learning for session 2. Now it is time for us to go through group processing. And as we go through group processing, please check if you've not touched the link for registration, please register. Click on the link and register yourself. It is important to get to know that you are part of this class of 551. At some point, we got to 610. That was very good. Now, think of one thing you have contributed to the success of our learning today. And as you think about it, let us see through the chat one thing that you have learned. One thing that you have learned using the chat, as I get a few people raising up their hands to voice their answers. One thing that you have learned. Whose hand is up? Yes, we start with Susan. Susan, unmute.
Dr. Christine.
Yes.
Would it be advisable, maybe we break for a few minutes so that people can share within their groups? I'm seeing we still have like 5 minutes. I think people can go to their groups so that they can share easily.
They go to their groups?
Yeah, so that they can share easily. You know, we are quite a number. Okay. Briefly, not for many minutes, maybe for 5 minutes. Aquira, are you still with us?
Okay. So we get how many rooms? We go for 5 minutes?
Yeah. We can afford 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, participants, please bear with us. Today we might extend for another 10 minutes. Forgive us for that. So let us just go to breakout rooms and have us breathe out. Aquila, please give us, what if you give us 30 rooms? Let's see if the breakout rooms can work with 30 rooms. Because we are 536.
Aquila?
Yes. Is Aquila in the house?
Yeah, in the house.
Oh,
okay. Give us 30 rooms. Okay. Open all rooms.
Oh, it just started.
Okay. How many rooms did you give us? 15. It's okay. No problem.
Okay. I think there's an issue. It's not taking people.
Okay, those who will remain at the plenary, you can start discussing.
I think there's an issue. It's not taking people.
There is?
It's not taking people. It has taken a very few people.
Can you refresh?
Let me close again.
Because the people are many?
I think it's because people are many.
Yeah.
Let's check again.
We check again. Able try to see what you can do. If it's not possible, because we have 400 people at there. This cannot be a breakout. And then we need to allow them to unmute themselves. Okay, maybe we can just continue.
Oh, Dr. Christine, you're in this group. Sorry, I hadn't noted.
Yeah, sorry. The rooms, it's like there are
no rooms.
There are no rooms.
Yes.
No rooms assigned.
No rooms.
Even the network is tired.
The one large room.
The next one is so tired.
Hey, wacheni walimu wajipange.
Hey, Ocho, I love that. Aquila, let me do it. Aquila, let me do it.
Network
imechoka.
Spelling, we are going for assessment.
Aquila.
Yes, let's see if people will go to the room now.
Okay. It's not opening.
I opened all rooms. What is happening?
Try on your side. I think it's my network.
Let me just close them because it's not working. Let us just do it at the plenary.
Yeah.
Sorry for that inconvenience. They are going.
They're going, but very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the Zoom that has an issue.
But it's Zoom that has an issue. Because still we are having 425 people in the room.
Yeah.
So I think we better just stop them. I hope that is okay, Madam Eunice, because we will be wasting time and we are not succeeding. Breakout rooms in progress. But how many have gone to breakout rooms? We are not succeeding. We are having so many people.
I'm not yet in a room.
No, let us just stop it.
Can you just do that? Sure.
Let's do.
Yeah.
There are no rules.
Okay.
We are tired.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. We've heard your cries, and it's because now we have understood that we are not able. Yeah, please bear with us.
Dr. Christine, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, I'm saying let us just finish here because the breakout rooms have shown that they have a challenge. One thing you have learned, one thing you have contributed to the group. Let us use the chat very fast. Eunice, you can read?
Yeah. I'm saying many of them are saying it was a good presentation. Rebecca said she had learned about fire. Lucy said she had learned types of evacuation. Majority are responding towards how the presentation was, evacuation strategies. Somebody else said she had learned the fire tips, the fire drills, fire preparations, fire drills. Most of them are repeating they have learned about the fire drills, fire preparations, types of fire extinguishers, fire drills and evacuation, etc. Maybe we can call it a good evening.
Thank you. One thing you have contributed to the group, I know most of us who are very active today. We want to say bravo to all of you. On behalf of my colleagues, myself, Eunice, Angatia, and Rebecca, remember we were 4 in this cluster. I believe with the learning that has happened this week, somebody is going home with something that they can be proud of and say TPD has helped me. So as we get to the end, it is time now to think about reflections on the day. I learned that I need to learn more about what I liked about the day was. Put this in your notebook so that when you get to the online campus, you are now able to reflect and remember what you learned on the last day. Somebody was asking, somebody was asking about, must we do all the activities? For cohort 2,
I have.
It is important that you do all the activities because, why? As Aquila was presenting as we started the meeting today, you realized your platform is interactive, that you cannot be allowed to move to the next line until you are done with this activity. So the reason as to why those activities are there is to help you internalize. And besides, the system is checking and marking whether you have done the activity or not. And the beauty with the system, it will assess how many minutes have you taken to respond to this activity before it gives you the score. So it is important that you go through all the activities before you can now settle down to do the final assessment, that is your reflections. We will get some time in between to take you through portfolios because you're supposed to have started thinking about your portfolios since we have already done 4 of, at least we've gone through 4 units, yeah? We are remaining with 1, which we are going to do in December to finish the introductory module. So please look at the reflections. On my own behalf, thank you for being good students. Back to my leader, Madam Eunice.
Thank you, Dr. Christine. I may not want to speak much because you have clarified everything. In fact, I did it, I responded via the chat box and instructed the participants that they should attend to all activities. And I overemphasized that we have the 3 assignments that are very crucial because they're meant for grading. Otherwise, on behalf of cluster 3, I must say, participants, we are humbled by your patience. Thank you very much for taking time to log in each and every day in the evening, despite of your busy week. I want to say that we have concluded our session 2 on comprehensive school health and safety. And we have managed to look at the 5 topical areas that are very key. And I'm saying they are key because you will be expected to do a learning reflective journal for grading. That is the topic on health and health education, health literacy, school emergencies and safety, management of injuries. And tonight we have concluded with the topic on fire safety and safety emergency evacuation. Kindly participants, it is very important that if you are not able to log in to KEMI virtual campus, you request for assistance because again, we will be uploading all the presentations over the weekend so that you can engage now with the content of this chapter and also attend to your assignment. We are hoping that by November, all of you shall have done now the assignments for session 1 and session 2 so that during the vacation in December, as we proceed now with our last presentation for a whole week, you will not be caught up by time. If you're here and maybe you belong to cohort 1, remember again, your course is ending this December one-year TPD course. You are therefore expected to have completed your final synthesis paper and also the e-portfolio. Otherwise, participants, I thank all of us, my colleagues, who have been very cooperative throughout this week. May we all remain blessed. We request, because time is far much gone, when we do our closing prayer, Aquila.
Yes, yes.
I don't know what happened to Madam Eunice.
I think she's experiencing some network problem.
Okay, sorry for that. Now I think we can pray. Who can pray for us? Please, if you have a challenge, you can reach out to Aquila. Mr. Aquila, please give them your number again. Thank you for the feedback. This is really humbling. May God bless you. We give all the glory and honor to God. If you have benefited, that is our joy. So let's have, who can pray for us? Oh, so many. Willis Otieno, I've not heard you speak. Huh? So Willis, you can pray for us. Willis, please unmute yourself. Willis, okay. Alice Wangari, please pray. Unmute yourself and pray.
Let's pray. Our dear and everlasting Master, we come before this evening. We thank you, Lord, for the fire you've taken us to, our God. Thank you for the hope. As we go, Father God, to sleep, we pray that, Father, your presence, your guidance may be with us. Thank you, Jesus, for the participants. Thank you, Father, for our facilitators. May you bless them and take care of them. Continue adding them more knowledge for them to be guiding us each and every time we need them. It is in Jesus' name we do pray and believe.
Amen. And please be our ambassadors. Ask your colleagues to register for cohort 3, which will start in December. You are lucky because you are finishing with first cohort. So all of you will be finishing in December. You get your certificates and transcripts. Take to the TSC so that you can now be counted qualified. Remember, it will get a point where you cannot even be promoted if you've not done TPD. So TPD is now a must. Encourage your colleagues to register. It's very important. So share the poster and encourage them. Remember, KEMI is the only capacity building agency of the Ministry of Education in Kenya at the moment. And so we believe we will give you the best services in TPD. Thank you and God bless you. And goodbye. Yeah. Goodbye. So let me remain with the few people who have issues. And because this is live, maybe what you will do, the few people with issues, you can call me later. Allow me to give you my number. Those who their hands raised up, you can call me later, 0724. Let me write it down because this is going to YouTube. 724. Yeah, so check the chat for my number. Check the chat for my number. Let me have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8 people raising up their hand. You can call me now so that I respond to your concerns. We don't want to leave anyone behind. So if you have a challenge, just talk to me now. Goodbye and God bless you. Yeah, Mount Kenya is another service provider for TPD. Mount Kenya University, we have Kenyatta University, we have Riara University. Yeah, and Kemi is the fourth. Somebody is asking what is the relationship? It's another service provider for TPD. But for capacity building, Kemi is the only one. So for the other 20 marks that we were talking about TPD, you can do the diploma in education leadership and management, or you do any other course, Okay, thank you and goodbye.